Good day and welcome back to another Dbz Dokkan Metal video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at the performance of Physical Vegito after his Extreme Z Awakening, and basically take a good look essentially at how he does. So he's a pretty good unit. I think there's a big misunderstanding with how he is as a unit. I think a lot of people just think he's useless, but this is not really the case. Two big things about him that will always keep him somewhat relevant. Firstly, he has the ability to negate normal damage by 80%. This is big. Yes, I know super attacks are going to give him issues, but realistically speaking, that's a problem for a lot of units that aren't Vegito. The second thing he does is he boosts the rest of the rotation with his super attack, which is good. A 30% attack and defense gain for the rest of the rotation is a good thing. Now, let's just recap his passive before we talk about where he falls short a little bit in terms of hard content. So damage reduction from normals 80%. He counters with tremendous power. He has defense of 150%. He gets attack at 20% with each attack received. Medium chance of performing a critical hit. He has key +1 up to 3. And additional defense 30% up to 90%, with his crit chance increasing 10% up to 30% every time he receives an attack 3 or more times in battle. The big thing with him, unfortunately, is that his crits are very, very low lying. So unfortunately, I think they didn't give him enough damage to actually, warrant how well he does. So, like, if you look at other Vegito units, let's say you look at Physical Vegito Blue, maybe you look at the Strength Vegito LR, you'll notice that their crits do a lot more damage. And this is actually where I think he falls down the most. Because Vegito is and functions as a Vegito unit technically does. They have counter capabilities, they generally don't survive super attacks for the most part, and they rely a lot of the time on the fact that they can always tank a normal and they can dish out crits, and crits are a good source of damage. The problem with Physical Vegito is that his crits don't feel impactful. The damage that they do is not huge, it's not overtly big, it's not a big source of damage, and so what that does is that counterintuitively plays against him, because now you're worried about a super attack, you're not really getting damage out of him, so you feel a little bit shortchanged. And I think that's actually where he struggles the most. I think that's actually where he kind of suffers, where he falls down, where he has a little bit of, issues, I want to say, without getting too into it. And I think that's realistically his only big downside. I think his link set's decent. I think he as a unit does well. The fact that he can't take damage on normals is something pretty good. The fact that he can boost the rest of the team, also something very good. He's definitely not going to survive a super. That's just not something he can do, realistically speaking. It's just not something that's in his wheelhouse, unfortunately. But yeah, it is something that I would say does limit him a little bit. For Physical Vegito, at least for me, I feel like his offense is not where you want it to be. He brings everything else to the table that I usually like with Vegito units. I think they could have given him a scouter ability. I think the big thing with AGL Super Vegito is his scouter ability, and scattering, or the ability to see super attacks, is always something that is helpful, especially for a unit like Vegito. You don't want to be in the way of the super attack, but you want to take as much normal attacks as possible. So for me, when I look at him, I definitely feel like it's in a situation where, okay, we need to consider maybe discussing giving him that Scouter ability, and he doesn't have it. They don't retroactively, like reduce or boost units after their EZA usually, so that's the only real problem. He does have a 50% crit rate, which is pretty good, but if he can get a good scouter unit alongside him, then we can start to talk. If you get a EZA for strength a la Vegito, then he's gonna start looking interesting. If you can get a new Vegito unit, then he's gonna start to look interesting. Any scouter based unit that links up decently with this guy is gonna give him like a step up. It's going to elevate him, up. It's going to raise him. It's going to make him a good unit. So it's, well, when I say good, he's a good unit. It's going to make him an exceptional unit, because now all of a sudden you can use him to his full extent. You don't have to worry about super attacks. You just stick him in wherever slot that he can deny all the other damage, and you can benefit from his super, and all of a sudden then he's doing at least 2 parts. His damage will always be somewhat underwhelming. I think that is always a little bit of a shame. His damage will always be a tiny bit underwhelming, which is a little bit of a shame. Like I say, it's not really something that I think they thought about properly. I think they could have made his damage a little bit better. But with that being said, I do think he is a really solid unit. And yeah, I personally just find him to be a very good option. Now, he's not going to carry your run, but he will prevent damage and he will provide some utility to the team, and at least in this respect he's going to be solid. You can see the crits don't do much. That's kind of the big issue I have. Like, even with the 55% crit rate, that's great, but that 300k doesn't take you very far, and that's the only unfortunate kind of aspect of this. Now obviously you can see the big benefits. He's supered here, and this is going to boost the rest of the rotation big time. Boosts his crits as well, so that's important. Obviously in terms of build, I do prioritize additionals. Double defensive raises for him, double defensive raises for the rest of the rotation will impact on his crits as well. So I do prioritize additionals. I do find that to probably be the better of these situations. But yeah, like I said, I think the big issue you have ultimately at the end of the day is just that he doesn't have access to the scouter ability. When you gain that access, when you give that ability to him in a rotation, then you're going to be seeing a really good unit that provides good utility and good defense. His offense is always going to be lackluster, but for red zone he's a good floater. I would honestly suggest making him just a floater. Whenever you need a unit on a team that won't take a lot of damage from normals, that you don't plan on tanking super attacks or anything like that, then that's really where he shines. I think at the end of the day, that's probably really where you're going to see the best out of him, and you're going to be able to enjoy or see a unit that functions really well. So I would definitely suggest maybe taking a look at implementing him in that way, and there you can kind of enjoy using him. But you can see, like here, you can see he will be fine. He's not going to take any damage at any point throughout the fight. As long as it's a normal, he basically can't take damage. It's just not really in his makeup. So you do have that benefit. That is definitely a benefit. And like I said, he does boost the rest of the rotations. He does boost the rest of the team. He can do somewhat okay-ish damage. And I think at the end of the day, he's still a solid option. Is he my go-to option? Probably not. Is he absolutely terrible? Definitely not. So it's just one of those things. But yeah, that's basically going to be it from me. Let me know your guys' thoughts on him as a unit in Red Zone. And yeah, I'd love to hear what you guys think. But that's basically going to be it for me. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time. Till then, bye.